Hey everybody, right, welcome to the John Covey podcast, episode 43. Today, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of people, they don't fully understand, and it's everywhere. We see this all the time, and it's called the law of attraction. Listen, people see The Secret. So maybe they've watched the movie, maybe they've read the book, and the book's fantastic, so is the film. But I think a lot of people don't fully understand what the law of attraction really is, and they are quick to dismiss it. They think that if they get their mindset right and they think, well, do you know, I really believe in it and I really expect to receive it, that it's just going to happen. And ultimately what you've got to always remember is that you've got to go out and you've got to work for this. You've got to go out and make the action. But let me tell you something a little bit more interesting than you just going out and taking that action and moving towards it. What I want to talk about is how the law of attraction really works. Now, I probably should have fetched a whiteboard in and maybe whiteboarded this, because it probably would make much more sense. But it's hard to do that on a podcast. Now, you might be watching parts of this on video, because I will upload the video of this onto YouTube as well. But I think that where most people get confused when it comes to the law of attraction is that they think that just by changing their mindset for a short period of time that things are just going to happen, things are just going to manifest for them. And it doesn't work that way. You've got to think about it. If you're 20, 30, 40 years old, maybe older, it's took a lot of conditioning for you to think and act and do the things that you do. So by changing that and doing something positive for 30 minutes to an hour a day, when you're in an environment that's pumping probably 16 hours worth of negativity on you, isn't really going to make a huge difference. That's not going to be enough to change that fixed mindset into that growth mindset and allow you to move to that next stage of your career, your life, your business, whatever that may be. So what you've got to understand with the law of attraction is it's not something that's a quick fix, and it can help, it can change, and it can work wonders for you, but you've got to make sure that you understand the mechanics behind it. And that's what I want to talk about right now. So what I want to talk about is habits firstly, because I want you to understand how habits work. Now, we know that we are creatures of habit. You know, we are very habitual in the things that we do. We get up roughly at the same time more or less every day, whether that's an alarm, whether that's because of work or a job or some commitment that you've got if you're a parent, maybe it's your children. But we have this habitual pattern that allows us to operate the same way every single day, day in, day out. We get dressed the same way. So let me give you an example. I put my shirt on in the morning, I get it off, I put it on. The first arm I put into it is my right arm, every single time. I put my trousers on the same way, every single time. The same leg goes in first every single time. This is just a habit. I don't think about this. I don't have to think about what sleeve I'm going to put my arm into first. Likewise, I don't have to think about what leg I'm putting my trousers in. You'll be doing the same with your blouse, with your skirt, with your pants, your socks, whatever it is that you're doing. It's a habit that you have that you just repeat over and over again. Don't have to think about it. The same kind of habit happens when you drive your car. You know, a lot of the time, and I don't know the statistics on this, but I'm going to guess that it's very, very high. But I'd say somewhere in the region of 80, maybe even 90% of the time when you're in your car, when you're behind the wheel, you're not even thinking about what to do. You're just on autopilot. And this autopilot is enough to drive you to work or to an appointment or a meeting or somewhere, and it drives you there, for the most part, safely. So we put our trust into these habits. We put our trust into this subconscious power that is allowing us to get from one place to the next. Okay, you're with me so far? So these are habits. And then there's lots of other habits. Now, there's bad habits as well. It might be, for us guys, we forget to put the toilet seat down. It might be that we just kick our shoes off at the end of the day rather than undoing the laces, and it damages the back of the heel. There's lots of different habits. Maybe it's drinking, maybe it's smoking. There's lots of different things that we get addicted to, and we create habits, and it's just learnt behaviour. Now, we also find that these habits can often be hard to change, and it's the discipline that is really lacking. And so, for example, I'm just on the last day, by the way, this is incredible. I'm on the last day of Lent. And so myself and my wife, what we've both done is we've agreed that we're going to we agreed that we was giving up alcohol for Lent. So that's 45 days of no drink. Now, that might not be a big deal for some people, but we enjoy a drink. You know, we work incredibly hard and we like to reward ourselves with drink. Now, that's probably wrong. in so many different ways. It's not dependent on it, but it's a way that we escape and find fun. Probably a large proportion of the world do, but we realised that we were probably drinking a little bit too much. We wasn't addicted, we didn't need it, it wasn't something that we really depended on, but we enjoyed it probably a little bit too much. So we decided, full Lent, we would give up alcohol. And do you know what? It's been easy. It's been so easy. There's been times when it would have been nice to have a drink when we went out. We went out for, we got invited to the Chamber of Commerce corporate day in Doncaster Rugby. So it was the Doncaster Knights. And the bar was free. And we were drinking, well, I was drinking J2O. Didn't bother me. Not a lot of other people there were drinking. Lots of drink. And would it be enjoyable or more enjoyable if we had a drink? Possibly, who knows? Did it bother me? No, not at all. Because we made a commitment. And it was this discipline that we committed to that allowed us to stay committed to the cause. And this is where I'm leading to with this, is the discipline. So it's the discipline that is the real driving force between the habits. So it's the discipline that you need to have in place. It's the discipline that you need to discipline to allow you to push through when times get challenging. When you come home from work and you had a really challenging day, and you just want to reach for a glass of wine or a whiskey or whatever it may be, and it's this discipline that's going to stop that from happening. It's the discipline that's going to stop you creating that new bad habit that will allow you to take control of that and catch it. Equally, there's a lot of stories that's created about how many days you have to do something for a habit to take place. So you've probably heard that it takes 21 days to create a habit. This is one of the research pieces of research that's been come back saying it takes 21 days. But this is, again, depending on what habit it is that you're trying to create or trying to stop, because obviously smoking's not just the habit of smoking for some people, it's the chemical, it's the connection, it's the it's what they find from smoking that's going to be as big a challenge as it is to get the craving and the addiction and the habit away from it all as well. So there's lots more to consider when the habit's quite deep. But ultimately what you've got to be able to do is discipline yourself. And so what I often find people doing is like relying too much on this 21-day habit. And the problem is you have to do it consistently. You can't break. And there's an example of this that was done by NASA. So what NASA did is they took a handful of astronauts and they're given these special glasses. And what the glasses did is they flipped everything upside down. So they were walking around, they were bumping into tables, everything, literally the entire vision, everything they saw was flipped upside down. And they was banging into things. And they were told that you had to bathe in this. You had to have your fun, sexy time in this. You had to eat, sleep, shower. You need to do everything with these glasses, and do not, under any circumstance, take these glasses off until we tell you to take them off. Now, what they found is that over a period of time, it got to between day 27 and day 30, what happened is that the eyesight flipped. So the brain had created a new neural pathway and it had flipped the vision around so that they begin to see everything the right way around. And this was really fascinating. So they took another bunch of astronauts and they thought, I wonder if this happens to everybody. So they took these astronauts, they split them in half. So let's just say that each group had 7 people in each side. And what they did, the exact same, glasses on, don't take them off, sleep, have fun, enjoy, bathe, keep them on until we tell you to take them off. And what they did is halfway through, so around 15 days in, they said to one group of the astronauts, take them off for just one day and then put them back on. And they still continued to observe these astronauts through this period of time. And what they found was that by the time it got to day 27 to 30, the ones that had kept them on, the same thing happened. The vision flipped, the brain created a new neural pathway, and they began to see everything the right way around again. However, the ones that had actually broke for one day, they literally took them off for one day, what they found is it took another 27 to 30 days, so up to 45 days in total before the flip occurred. And what this tells us is that it's really important if you want to create new habits and you want to create something that's going to stick, and that's the word right there, is creating habits that stick. If you want to create a habit that stick, you can't cheat. You can't have a break. You can't say to yourself and trick yourself saying, well, we'll have a cheat day now, or we'll reward ourselves 6 days into this non-drinking process. You've got to see it through to the end. And what I want to talk to you about now is making sure that you make that commitment to the end, whether that is stopping smoking, whether that is making a commitment to not drink, whether that is trying to be more disciplined. You've got to make a commitment to the end, and that's really what excellence is about. It's a commitment to completion. It's not about just doing it once, twice, half a dozen times and thinking it's going to stick. It's about making that commitment to this process and seeing it through until the end. So a message for you in this podcast is, if you want to create some new habits, if you want to get yourself really motivated and driven and focused to do things, don't try to find some videos that's going to get you jacked up and excited. That's good. That'll bring temporary motivation to get you started. And you should spend definitely some of your time each day watching that kind of content, but that's not enough on itself. Like, motivation gets you started. That's all it does, it gets you started. It's these things I've been talking about. It's the discipline that's going to get you to the end, that's going to see you through. And it's that discipline that creates excellence. That's what makes somebody excellent, is discipline. So we started 44 days ago, so 45 days tomorrow, we started and we said that we would not drink for 45 days for Lent. And we're now approaching the last day. Will we drink? Of course we will. We're going to have a drink, because we didn't do this because we wanted to stop drinking altogether. We just decided that we wanted to cut down. So my question for you is, what is it that you're trying to change? What habit is it that you want to get the hold on? What habit are you trying to conquer or even develop? Because it's the habits that make life for you work a certain way. So if you're not getting the results right now, maybe that's in your career. Maybe you're turning up at work every single day and things, for whatever reason, just aren't working out for you. You've got to look at yourself first. What habits are you doing that's causing the issues? If you go to, like, let's say you got your own business and you go business networking and you're not getting the business from the networking. Your networking's not working. What is it that you're doing that's causing this? What habits are you doing repeatedly that's stopping you from getting the results that you want? Because success and failure are exactly the same. You don't wake up one day and you're massively successful. It doesn't happen that way. You don't just wake up and think, wow, this is great. Whatever success is to you, it happens that morning. It doesn't work that way. Likewise, you don't wake up one morning and realise that the bank want the house back and your car's been taken off you and your wife or your husband's left you and you've run out of money. These things don't happen just overnight. It takes time, it's habits, it's things that happen over and over and over again. And they stack up and they compound together. And what you've got to look at is, what is it that you're doing that's causing this compound effect? What is it that you're doing that's either going to take you to success or going to take you to crash and burn? Because if you can find out what that pattern is, I can guarantee that you can change it. And if you start to change it, you'll start to get better results. Now, this is really interesting, because what happens is when you get better results, you feel better. And when you feel better, it encourages you to get better results. And when you get better results, you feel better. You see where this is going? So the idea is that you create this cycle. You create this habit. And this habit gives you motivation. This habit gives you drive. But ultimately, it gives you the discipline to see it through. So, as we bring this in for a landing, let's talk about what these habits really mean and how they relate back to the law of attraction. Because we opened up right at the start talking about the law of attraction, and I rambled on about habits a bit. Let me explain to you why I've done that. Because habits is really what the law of attraction is about, is that you train yourself to think a certain way, to look for the things that you want to really get in your life, and you start to attract them. Now, that's not magic. It's not some spiritual force that's going to pull it towards you. It's the fact that you started to focus on that kind of thing. Now, does the law of attraction work? Yes. Is it about being positive? Yes. Is it about having gratitude? Yes. Is it about looking for the things that you want rather than the things that you don't want? Yes. It's all of those things, but they're habits, because a lot of people get into the habit of looking at things worse than they are. People get into the habits of wishing things were easier rather than wishing that they were better. People get into the habits of not appreciating the things that they've got. They don't like the car, they don't like the house, they don't like where they live, they don't like the income, and they focus on everything that they don't like rather than spending the time focusing on what they really want and appreciating the things that they currently do have. This is how the law of attraction really works. Now, we can go into lots more detail, and like I said at the start, if we had a whiteboard and we could actually write all this stuff down, maybe that's a different video, maybe we'll do that as a video. But the law of attraction, if we put it down to its real simple core, it's about creating habits. It's creating a new habit for the way that you think. It's about creating a habit so that you think about the things that you want. It's about creating a habit so that you think and focus and get into that motion and feel it with energy and everything inside you. That is what the law of attraction is all about, is the fact that you train yourself into that new habit. Get yourself in a habit of feeling it, experiencing it. Do you know, really kind of imagine yourself in the moment, right here, right now, owning that. That's a habit. It's tough to do at first. It's very difficult to do at first, but you've got to get yourself into that habit where you can feel as if you've already got it. It's like you're living it and experiencing it right now. That's how the law of attraction works. But this is a habit. You can't do it just once and expect everything that you wanted in your life to come towards you. Now, in other podcasts, we'll talk about life conditions and blueprints and why you feel frustrated at times. But this is ultimately what it comes down to, is that you have to stay committed. Like I just said, it's the commitment to completion that creates excellence. It's not about you doing something once and expecting the results to be fantastic. It's about staying committed to the cause, creating them habits, creating that high-performing routine that you just keep going at and keep on pushing towards. And that is how you will activate the law of attraction. Guys, I hope that you really enjoyed the podcast. And if there is anybody that needs to listen to this, tag them into it, share it with them. Tell people you've got to listen to this stuff, because you keeping it to yourself has got no benefit to anybody else. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. Some people will, some people won't. But make sure if you do anything, you pass it on. You share it with other people. And if you really like it, subscribe. Sign up to it. Do you know, you can watch the videos on YouTube at any time that you want. You can subscribe through Spotify. You can watch it on, you can listen to it on Spotify, on TuneIn, through Amazon. You can iTunes, subscribe on there. There's all these different places that this podcast is going to be pushed. It's trying to reach as many people as possible. Create the habits that's going to make you win. And you'll find that by creating them habits and being disciplined, that is how you're going to activate the law of attraction. Have a good day, guys.